This daily market update has been brought to you by Daily Wealth Report. Trading involves risk of loss and may not be suitable for you. Past performance is no guarantee or reliable indication of future results. All advice and education content is of the nature of general information only and must not in any way be construed or relied upon as legal, financial, or personal advice.
Good morning, traders and investors, and welcome to the daily market update for Thursday the 16th of August. We've seen European markets down overnight with the US markets mixed, maintaining virtually the sideways range that they've held for the last 2 weeks. As we take a look at the FTSE 100, we can see it was down 31 points or 0.5%, closing at 5,833. Again, a very small body candle, as we can see here in the right hand edge of the screen, and maintaining a range between about 5,800 and 5,870. So very tight range there on the FTSE. The German DAX had lost 27 points or 0.4%, closing at 6,946. It too maintaining that short-term sideways range there, and forming a spinning top candlestick very similar to a doji, just a very small body with shadows either side, denoting uncertainty between both buyers and sellers. So a lack of direction in Europe at the moment. And then finally, as we take a look at the CAC 40, it was virtually unchanged, only down 1 point, closing at 3,449, and it too is within its short-term sideways range. As we take a look at the US markets, we can see the Dow Jones here is still trading sideways on the short term. It was down 7 points overnight. It's virtually unchanged for the Dow. It closed at 13,164, finding a lack of buyer drive, but then the sellers are just not committing to the market either at the moment. And this is on extremely low volume levels across the board. The Nasdaq index was able to garner a little bit of momentum. It was up 1 point or 1.6 of a point, closing at 1405, but that's after it had opened the day lower and it spent the morning session recovering, and then it remained within a fairly tight range through to the closing bell. So that too is somewhat sideways there. The S&P 500 garnered a little bit more buying activity, up 14 points or 0.4% for the day, closing at 30.30, and it is finding that weakness at previous long-term highs, as is the rest of the US markets. The VIX index, compared to the previous session, instead of rallying like it had done on Tuesday, it was down slightly, down 22 cents or 1.4%, closing at $14.63. So a little bit of hesitation there after a little bit of positive earnings data. However, the VIX is not showing a lot of buyer strength. It was starting to pop up a little bit, and it's very similar to this pattern we had seen back in March. So if the markets do start to garner a little bit more weakness, then we will start to see this VIX popping back up towards these $17, $18 levels. A little closer to home, the ASX 200 was down 19 points. So after a very mixed lead from overseas markets the night before, we had exactly the same situation, and that had led to 19 points down yesterday, closing at 4,273, whereas with the SPY up 5 points now. As you may recall, yesterday the SPY was up only a few points, and that resulted in a 19-point drop. So again, with 5 points up today on the SPY, the ASX 200, we're not expecting a strong shift early on. We are now testing this 20-period moving average. This could see a little bit of a pullback down towards these 4,220 levels on the short term. However, we don't have a great deal of lead internationally or on the local markets. So as we head into the tail end of the week, we have US options expiration on Friday. We have index options for Australian indices expired today, and we have Aussie options expiring on the 30th, so we still have a couple of weeks left on those. We're not expecting a great deal of activity today. We do have inflation expectations for Australia, and tonight in the US we have the building permits and housing starts and Philly Fed manufacturing index, but at this point in time none of this is really having a major catalyst on investor confidence, and that's resulting in the markets remaining subdued. Well, that's our summary for today. I look forward to giving you an update again tomorrow.